Hello, I'm Stewart Jackson. I work as a family counselor. And I had a person tell me the other day that they weren't sure that doing any counseling would be very beneficial because they had come from such a dysfunctional family. And I thought that was interesting, the way and the power they were giving their family to determine what they would or wouldn't get out of something in their lives. So I asked this person if they had a definition of what a dysfunctional family was, and they hadn't really thought of it. They just uh, maybe described some behaviors that they thought were troubling to them. And it reminded me of something a teacher told me once, is that uh, a dysfunctional family is a family with more than one person in it. I think that gathers us all in the same sort of human boat, doesn't it? It's just that some families, the dysfunction is more intense than others. And sometimes it is expressed in ways that are more brutal than others. But we all are recovering from dysfunction and working to be our best selves. I'd like to recommend a book to you today, and I found this very helpful and very readable. It's called Growing Yourself Up. It's by a woman, Jenny Brown, who has a counseling practice in Australia. And I just think she has a lot to offer us, particularly in this time when we're with our families more, and that the pressure all around us is more. And one of the things that she highlights is the notion that uh, for a married couple, if you want to practice a grown-up marriage, then what you'll be doing is to focus less on the relationship and more on your own behaviors. You think about that for a second, because it might be counterintuitive. Here's my little graphic today. You've got partner A and partner B, and in between them is this relationship. And it's more or less intense. It's closer or warmer, or you can come up with various descriptions of this relationship. And many times we think what we need to do is to work on our relationship. Well, working on your relationship is, I don't know, it's sort of like working on happiness. If you try to chase happiness, you most often will miss it. Same here. If you're working on a relationship, it's sort of vague and nebulous, and you never know what would you do. I mean, how do you do that? A lot of people say, well, we could communicate better. Well, you see, that brings it back to exactly my point that I'm wanting to make today, is that less focus on the relationship and more focus on how am I behaving in the context of this relationship. It's a very different way of approaching it. It starts with yourself and moves out. That's not selfish. It's care of self. And it's the effort to practice being the most responsible self. And I'll raise some questions here that maybe you would like to think about, and I'll be interested in what you think. But what main question is, what helps and what hinders my being a responsible member of this relationship? What facilitates my being the best member of the relationship, and what prohibits me from doing that? For instance, when am I affirming and appreciative and affectionate? What are there times that those are better for you? When does that happen? What's going on that helps me to be those vital parts of a relationship? So affirmation, appreciation, and affection. Another question. When am I most available to my partner? Lots of couples, after a few years, just become less and less available to each other. I'm too busy with this or that, home stuff, business stuff. I'm more available to friends and to work and to the other things in my career than I am available to my partner. There was a time when you were dating, I guess. I was about to say courting, but nobody does that or knows that word anymore. But there was a time when you were available 24/7. But when am I most available? What am I doing to actively take care of myself? I think it's important for partners to take care of self physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, so that you can be the self that your partner responded to initially. So don't let yourself go. Well, those are some thoughts from Jenny Brown. It's hard to think of them these days with so much pressure on us financially and socially, and we're just apart from our usual lives. So I hope that's useful in thinking about how do I focus on being my best self so that I can be in this relationship, so that the needs of my partner can be as important to me as my needs are to me. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. Be strong.